So we are, hey, you're back. Hi,
Sorry, the
Michelle.
computer it died. It's not charging. I don't know.
Oh no. So
Yes.
I'm Kelly Wenzel. I am your Tastefully Simple cookie extraordinaire for the evening. Not really, but we have done these workshops now since probably 2015. So I guess maybe I could be an extraordinaire at this point, maybe. So we're going to be prepping our cookie dough, and you kind of have two choices here. For us to be able to keep moving forward, we're going to just take, and once we make the dough, we're going to take the whole dough ball and put it into a Ziploc bag and set that aside. Then at the end, if you want to stay on and you want to make dough balls, we can do that. Or you have a choice that you could do that on your own time, or you could just freeze the whole dough ball and then when you're ready to bake, bring it out and make the dough balls at that point. It sometimes takes a decent amount of time to roll all the dough, and it will go a lot faster for everybody involved if we just make the dough first. So, so we are going to go ahead and start with. We're going to jump around a little bit. We're going to actually start with our brown sugar coffee. Michelle Pinto, are you planning? Well, let me do this. Michelle, are you planning on staying on the whole time, or do you want me to do the two you're going to make, and then we'll go backwards? And you're
Ow.
muted.
Um, I mean, that would be awesome. You certainly
Okay.
don't have, I could hang out and do, because I could
Yeah.
bake my doing so whatever you want to do. I'm game. I'm
Okay.
good.
I think we're going to work backwards on our assembly instructions. So you probably have these well, Haley, you have it from Deborah. If you're watching the replay, you probably got this from your consultant who sent this out to you. And there also is now a baking document, like how to bake it or any little last minute tips of what you need to do. So we are going to start from the back and go to the front. We're going to start with our messiest one, and then we're going to go the other directions. All right. So then we can clean out our bowl. So you're going to want a big mixing bowl. Um, and what we're going to do is we are going to be taking our Nana's apple cake. If you've never had this one, when you open that bag, you're going to smell delicious cinnamon and just yumminess. And if you've had these before, feel free to hop on or jump in, chime in, and share what you'd like. And we're going to be using 1 stick of softened butter. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about butter before we get really too far into this. If you melt your butter, when it says to just have softened butter, the consistency of your cake mix turning to a cookie is going to be not what you want it to be, and it's going to be very hard to work with. So always be really mindful when you're taking and doing our cakes to cookies. If it's saying melted butter, melted cooled butter, or softened butter. So Deborah, do you, as a home ec teacher, I know you probably have tips for this. Any
Ye-
tips you want to give us to help us have the very best softened butter? Thoughts about this?
I usually do 15 seconds in the microwave,
15.
like
Okay.
and then maybe 5-second increments for 1 or 2 times. Or you can also warm up a glass with hot water and set
Mm.
that over your butter, and that will soften it as well.
Wow, that's interesting. So a warm glass.
Yes.
Just a
I mean,
just a
it
warm
takes
glass.
just a warm glass, you stick it over, set it down over the butter.
So it's already like you warmed the glass with water, then pour the water out, then put it over top of your butter and let it just sit.
Yes.
Awesome. Those are great tips. All right. So for this particular, thank you. I knew you would have a tip for us on this. So thank you very much. All right. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we want that stick of softened butter in the big bowl. And you're going to also be measuring a 1/2 cup of creamy peanut butter that you'll want to go ahead and scoop into your bowl as well.
Measure with your heart.
What did you say?
Measure with your heart.
Measure with your heart. Unless you're Kelly Wenzel, who has to follow every rule, and then you can't get past it, and you have to measure it out.
But isn't that kind of what's nice about baking? Like you could just sort of, I mean, some things, yeah, you need, but
Yeah.
sometimes
Michelle Pinto, you've never eaten my food. You don't know.
especially with peanut butter.
Kelly,
Oh,
did you
yeah,
say a
yeah.
half cup or a quarter cup?
Half cup of peanut butter.
Okay.
Great question. And it calls for creamy peanut butter. So, and this recipe, Carla, if you don't, because this one wasn't on the original Cakes to Cookies, we added it as an extra cookie, because we love it. So this one, like I said, was an add-on cookie, so I can share that recipe on the website, on the team page
Okay.
from the website. And it's called the Bite-Sized Monster Cookies. So, all right. In addition to those 3 ingredients, you're also going to want to add 2 eggs. So you want to crack 2 eggs and throw those in. And then we're going to mix that until it forms into a dough. So we start to form a dough, will be our first step.
Already
And
making a,
I will say again.
I'm already making a mess. Sorry.
Well, but you're doing it from the heart, so then it doesn't matter, right?
All good.
That's good. And I like that you have your bag already behind you, so you can just twist and throw your things in the garbage. It sometimes is a really nice, easy way to do it. So
Either
that way you don't
that
have-
or I learned from Rachel Ray to have her 30-minute meals like a garbage bowl. The best.
Yes, that's a great idea too.
One of the
Yeah,
best.
yeah. So Haley, who do we have here again that are your helpers?
Lucy and Levi.
Lucy and Levi. Are you going to help stir, or what are you going to do today? Stir. That's awesome. Well, you're going to be great at it. I just know it. You just have to go kind of slow so you don't have it all over the kitchen. Slow and steady. Look at that oven mitt. That's awesome.
I have that open. I don't have a glove.
You don't have a
No, you don't have the glove. You don't need it right now, so you should be fine. But you have a step stool.
Oh, sure. I got
Yeah.
dinosaur.
You have a dinosaur, yes.
Very cool. Dinosaurs are the best. Yes, they are. All right. So as you've got, and if I go too fast, you just have to tell me to slow down, because remember, I'm not making them with you, because if I was, we would be here for 2 days. So it's better for me just to read the instructions and share them with you, as opposed to me trying to cook or bake and prepare alongside of you. So once you have that dough formed, if you can give me a thumbs up, and then we'll go ahead and start to gradually mix in our other ingredients. Lucy, it looks like you got it going on there. Mhm. Levi, you must be up next on the second half of the recipe. Yep. Carla, do you do much baking?
Basically just around the holidays, a lot of cookies.
Right. What's everybody's favorite cookie? Does anybody have a favorite?
Mine are peanut butter blossoms.
Oh,
Oh.
yes. You know, a couple years ago, we actually had that as one of our mixes.
Hmm.
I think it was before you joined. It would have been, yeah, it would have been before you joined. That was one of our cake mixes, or cookie
Wow.
mixes, I should say. So, Michelle, do you have a favorite? Lucy, you have a question, or you want to tell me your favorite cookie?
I like that.
Which one?
I like the
What
what
kind
we're
of cookie?
making.
What you're making?
Yeah. I like,
These are really good. Yeah.
I like my green cookie.
You like green cookies?
Yeah.
Those are good cookies too. All right. So once you have your oh, look at that. It's very cute. It matches. That's a holiday one that matches your oven mitt. So, okay. So once you have those ingredients mixed in, you're gradually mixing in 2 cups of oatmeal. And that's the part that'll take a little bit of time. And these should be the quick oats. But if you didn't have those, Deborah, what's the difference? If you're baking, does it really matter if you have quick oats or the old-fashioned oats?
I don't think so per se, but the quick oats would get softer faster.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. And Deborah, while you're unmuted, do you have a favorite cookie?
I do. I have a really good sugar cookie cutout recipe that Is my entrance ticket to all things holiday with my family.
Oh, I love it. That's
And it's my
awesome.
favorite. So, and I do love oatmeal scotchy type cookies. So I'm excited for the ones with the Nana's app, the cinnamon oatmeal ones.
Yeah,
I think those are going to
yeah,
be really good.
that they are really good, and that's like one of my favorites. I like to make that into a bar pan, like like make
Mhm.
them thick like that. My sister has even for years has made those for me for Christmas. That's my Christmas, one of my Christmas presents.
I
So
love
it's very
that.
sweet. Yeah. You can never lose, a Christmas present's always the best when it's something that's, you know, smells delicious, tastes delicious. Yum, yum, yum.
And you know it's going to get used.
Yes, it's never going to sit in my closet. That's for sure. So yeah. All right. So once you have your oatmeal in, if you can go ahead and give me a thumbs up, then we'll go on to the next ingredients. Shell, do you have a favorite cookie? I know you kind of told me the
Um,
crackle cookie.
yeah, those I like the absolutely almond, the thumbprint with the rhubarb strawberry. But as far as like
Mm.
one I've been making for a long time, I do make a good oatmeal raisin cookie. But I love the snowball cookies with the Hershey Kiss inside.
Oh, the Hershey Kiss inside of it?
Yes,
I've
yeah,
never done that.
yes. You
Oh
chill
my.
you gotta you chill the dough for about I don't know, like 40 minutes or so. Yeah, and then you just roll a Hershey Kiss inside, and then you dust them with the powdered sugar. They're so good, especially for the holidays because it looks like well, snowballs.
Yeah. I love the snowball cookies that
Yeah.
like the ones that have the chopped up pecans in it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm always surprised when I see the recipe and it doesn't have the kiss because I don't know anything other than the Hershey Kiss. In it. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna need to try that one. Can you
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
send me that recipe?
Yeah, for sure.
You don't have to do it anytime soon. I'm going to Florida on Saturday or on Sunday,
Oh,
so I won't be making it till after,
nice.
like right before Christmas or after.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I might do it just so I don't forget, but yeah.
okay, sounds great. All right, this one gives you a workout. I have to tell you, I think when you're mixing in oatmeal into
Yeah.
these cookies, it's kind of like you feel like you're getting a good old workout. So, all right, so now after we have our oatmeal in, we're gonna go ahead. Lucy and Levi, do you have your oatmeal in? Give me a thumbs up if you do. All right, good job. So we're gonna now put in 1 cup of, and it just says chocolate candy pieces. We're talking about M&Ms or some brand like M&M, something like M&Ms. So you need 1 cup of M&Ms, and then you need a half a cup of chocolate chips. So, and you're gonna mix that all into the dough, and then we're gonna just put that aside in a big bag. And we'll be finished with our first dough ball. So I was a
So
teacher for, go ahead.
I was just say I couldn't find the plain red and green M&M. They had the peanut, they had the mint, whatever.
Right.
Well, what am I gonna do? And I remembered, how all those little like candy canes are filled with. I'm like, I'm gonna grab some of
Yeah.
those candy canes. That's what
I
I did.
bought some of this today. I was like, oh, they're so cute. My husband loves
Yeah,
those. So
yeah.
yeah. He
Or
likes the ones that
completely.
are Hershey's instead of M&Ms.
Yeah,
They taste a little bit different and he really likes that. So
chocolate might be a little better.
yeah, maybe it's possible. So, all right. How's it going?
Yum.
Lucy's got an expression of there's a lot going on there.
Ooh.
No, oh, not yet. Not yet. We're not ready yet. Okay. I'm not trying to push you forward. We'll wait. I'm glad you gave me the sign. That gave me the help to know what we're doing.
These look too healthy with the oatmeal.
I know it really does. Yep, in here. So you have Haley, you have someone with an allergy to peanuts or peanut butter. So what are you replacing that with?
We're actually using the sunflower butter.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay,
Very similar to the peanut butter, actually. So it's
that's
just
great.
tastes too.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for giving us a heads up on that. We all learn from each other, so it is great when we can learn like new things like that. So thanks.
Mhm.
Thank you. Way to go, Carla. Thank you for reminding me. Just that fast, I had forgotten. All right. So we are moving on to our brown sugar toffee chocolate chip cookies. Say that fast, right? So to start with, the cake mix that you'll need will be our brown sugar caramel cake mix. And in that box, you have two packets. You have the main pouch, that's packet one, and then you have your packet two. So you want to get both of those out. And you're going to put both of those into your large mixing bowl. Now, this recipe calls for softened butter. We're not going to be melting this all the way, so be very careful with that. Because as I mentioned before, if you melt the butter when it's just calling for softened, it really is going to change the consistency, and your cookies are always going to be kind of gooey and ooey.
Kelly, you said both?
Yes, you're going to put both packets. So packet one and packet two will be going into the cake mix.
And that on.
Once that's in your bowl, you're going to add a half a cup or one stick of softened butter. So I have another question because I am not the biggest baker in the whole wide world. Salted or unsalted butter? What does it matter?
If you're adding, I think if you're adding salt to your recipe, you want to use unsalted so you can control it.
Okay.
If you're not, I mean, probably baking with unsalted is probably the correct thing, but salted works fine too. I
Okay.
mean,
So there's no real reason except you don't want it to be your cookies to be too salty.
yes.
Okay, that's fair. I was always wondering, I was like, does it make it rise differently? Does it affect anything to do with? So awesome. All right, so once you have your softened butter in, you'll also be adding 2 eggs. And then we'll start to mix that dough together or mix those ingredients together to form your dough. Okay. All right, this time I remember to turn it back on without your help, Carla. Look at me. I'm so proud. All right, so as we continue to work on our brown sugar toffee chocolate chip cookies, we've got our first 3 ingredients in, and now what we're going to do is we're going to be adding a half a cup of the English toffee bits and a half a cup of the semi-sweet chocolate chips. Those are our last 2 ingredients for these cookies, and then you'll just mix those together. So a half a cup of the toffee bits and a half a cup of the chocolate chips.
Careful, you're on camera.
Now, would you do milk chocolate chips, or is it better with semi-sweet chocolate chips?
Well, I myself am a milk chocolate kind of a girl, so I always like gravitate towards the milk chocolate, but Deborah, I always go and look at Deborah and say, Deborah, what do you think?
I think semi-sweet. But I mean, they're
Okay.
both going to be delicious, you know.
Right.
I mean,
I made this last year. I made these last year with the milk chocolate, but I think I would go maybe more traditional this year. I thought they were good last year with the milk chocolate, but I think I would want to try them with the semi-sweet this time. So
I
Well,
think
and the
semi-sweet has
toffee bits
little.
are so sweet.
I'm sorry, Michelle, what'd you say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the toffee bits are so sweet. So it might
that's
help
a good
to,
point.
balance
Yeah.
it a little bit. Like if I'm doing chocolate chip cookies, I go milk, but
Yeah.
sorry.
Deborah, what were you gonna say?
I think semi-sweet, I don't know. I think that's gonna balance out the toffee personally. Because they're a little darker, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just my opinion.
Well, we'll all have to try it, and then maybe some of us should do it with milk chocolate, some should do it with semi-sweet, and then we can compare notes.
And the recipe is semi, right?
Yeah, the recipe does call for semi-sweet. Yeah. That was a great question. Because like the monster size, the bite size monster cookies did not say one way or the other, it just said chocolate chips. I don't believe it said semi-sweet or milk. So.
Mm.
And this is the reason those are called monster cookies. It's not because the recipe came out at Halloween or anything. It's because they're kind of a lumpy looking cookie and they're not a real smooth out cookie. So that's kind of the reason that name came and stuck with that. So,
And I
I-
thought it was because it had so many different like toppings in it,
yeah, that could be
That's what I was
too.
thinking. Kind of like
Yeah.
those kitchen sink type.
Kitchen
Yeah.
sink cookies. Yeah, you could probably call them that. Yeah, definitely. So, all right. And once you have those last two ingredients of the toffee bits and the semi-sweet morsels mixed in, then you can take and your dough ball is formed. Just go ahead and get that into a next Ziploc bag. And we'll be ready to go on to our Nana's cinnamon oatmeal scotchies will be our next cookie. All right, so we now have our bite-sized monster cookies finished. We've got our brown sugar toffee chocolate chip cookies prepared. And now we're going on to our Nana's cinnamon oatmeal scotchies. So for this one, you're going to want one package of the Nana's apple cake in your mixing bowl.
Haley or Tina,
Are they
you
doing-
guys were doing the chocolate ones instead. Because you had a chocolate pound cake, right? You're on mute.
So we're not,
So that's why we have like an extra bonus cookie here. But what if you were a person who got the cakes to cookies, our next cookie that we're gonna make, we're gonna rewind this a little bit, and the next cookie we're gonna be making is our chocolate peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. So peanut butter chip cookies. And this is going to be made with our classy chocolate pound cake.
Hey,
It's the first thing you want to put in. And then in that mix, we're going to be adding a half a cup of softened butter. So 1 stick of softened butter. And in addition to that, you'll have 2 eggs, but you want to have those eggs beaten. Does that really make a big difference too, Deb?
Yeah, it just helps incorporate them better into the dough.
So that would be the reason. Thank you for being our wise guide here.
I feel so special.
Well, I'm glad you know, and then you're teaching all of us, so it's a great thing. So again, the classy chocolate pound cake, and I love this mix because it's got little chocolate chips already in the mix. It's just so yummy. It's perfect as the pound cake. It makes great cupcakes. And the cookies, like the crackle cookie recipe that's on our website, along with this peanut butter recipe, those are all delicious. So be sure to check out our recipe section on tastefullysimple.com. And you can even do a search with just cookies on there and you'll find a whole bunch of different ones. So, all right. So once you have those things mixed, we're going to be adding 2 different types of chips. So that's pretty fun. But I'll let you all get caught up because I know you had to beat the eggs a little bit here. They're muted.
Oh,
She said she got another flavor.
okay.
That's awesome.
so we have different ones we could choose from. We got the premier white. We got a mix and a butterscotch.
yeah, but
Oh,
That'd be awesome.
Different ones. I was like, I didn't know which one we want to try.
There you go.
I
So
don't think
once
you
you
can
have-
go wrong with any of those.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So once you have those those first 3 ingredients mixed together, you will be doing a half a cup of the whatever the white chocolate chips, and then you'll do a half a cup of whatever It calls for the peanut butter chips, but if you're like with the peanut allergy, then you're gonna do whatever, which one you decide. But it's a half a cup of each of those, and you'll mix those in. And then we'll have that one finished.
Smells good.
That's awesome. Lucy, which one do you think do you have like one that you think will be really fun to have first?
The
The
chocolate.
chocolate ones? Yeah. I was thinking about actually making a batch of those tonight. I was like, maybe I'll make some of those cookies. And then I was like, well, I'm home by myself. I probably don't need a whole batch of cookies by myself.
They're so good.
I know.
They're so
There
good.
is there's another recipe that's the chocolate bonbon. And I know it wouldn't work for Haley's family, but you put a little mini Reese cup in the center of the chocolate dough, kind of the way you talked about the snowball cookie.
Mhm.
But you put a Reese cup in the center of it, so when you bite into it, it's a surprise that there's a little Reese cup in the center.
Nice.
Yeah, that is good. So we were just having we went offline, or we're on pause for a second, but we were talking about how these cookies, you're going to be baking them at 350. There was one, if you did get the Cakes to Cookies packet or a little brochure, the first one there, I don't know if you can see it, but the brown sugar toffee chocolate chip cookies called for you to bake at 375, but we all have made the executive decision. Well, Deborah weighed in after I said, I think it should be 350. So she said, yeah, with the toffee bits, let's try it at 350. So you might want to make note of that on your little cooking sheet. Just because I would hate for you to make a batch and then end up burning them because they're at a higher temperature. So
I'm gonna hop off because I got mine
Okay.
in dinner time over here before I eat the cookies.
yes, well, thank you. So glad you got to
Thanks
make some
so
cookies.
much. Yeah.
And I'll get this
thanks, guys.
recording out to y'all. So
All right, perfect. Bye, guys.
bye. See ya. How's it coming along? Everybody doing well? Let hit pause again. So what flavor chips did you end up going with?
Now we're on. We ended up doing white chocolate chips and butterscotch. So we'll see what this tastes.
Butterscotch.
That'll be
I
good.
love butterscotch. Anything butterscotch is my favorite. Awesome.
Hey.
Hi. Are you staying on, Lucy, or are you hopping off? Are you staying with us?
Stay.
You're gonna stay.
Yeah, you ready for the next batch of cookies we're gonna make?
Yes.
All righty, we are now gonna move to our Sunny Lemon thumbprint cookies.
Boy.
So do you like lemon?
You like
Yeah.
lemon?
Yeah. Well, this is a great one. So this one is kind of the one that probably has the most steps out of all of our cookies, because after you bake them, you get to put you can either use your thumb to push into your cookie or the back of a teaspoon once you bake them, and then you'll put some jam in there and you put some icing on top of it, and it's gonna be delish. So yeah, very good, huh?
What flavor did it give a flavor, or could you pick
you
your
can-
flavor?
You can pick whatever flavor preserves you prefer. In the cake mixes, they said strawberry preserves or any fruit preserves. They made the suggestion of strawberry, but you wouldn't have to. So,
I picked blueberry.
well, that's what I was going to say, because there's a recipe for a trifle and there's also like a lemon blueberry bar mix
Mm.
recipe as well. So I think probably blueberry would be really good with this. So yeah. So what we're gonna do for this one, you will need your Sunny Lemon pound cake for this particular recipe, and this is the thumbprint cookies that we're making. And this would be on the first page, it's the third one down. Now this one has 2 packets. You are only going to be using packet 1, and we will be putting packet 2. We'll attach that or put it just inside the bag of the cookie dough because that's going to be your glaze once you're making the cookies. So this first cookie, what we're going to do is put that Sunny Lemon powder or Sunny Lemon pound cake, package 1 in your bowl. And again, we're going to be using 1 stick of softened butter. So a 1/2 cup of softened butter.
Say hi, Lex.
Hi.
Hi, Lex. How are ya? Thanks for joining us.
My name's actually Lexi.
Lexi, yeah.
Lexi. Okay. How are ya?
Okay, so we got our Sunny Lemon pound cake.
Awesome. So the next thing we're going to do is our 1 stick of softened butter. Again, not melted, just softened.
Mom's getting that.
All right.
Oh, come on, somebody.
So are you doing the next one, Lexi? Are you helping stir the now? Lucy, are you stirring or is your sister stirring?
Here too. But
Yeah.
It's your sister's turn to try a little bit, honey. She just got home. Okay.
All right. So once you have your butter softened, the other thing that you'll be adding is 2 large eggs that have been beaten.
Oh, we gotta beat them first.
Yep, beat those 2 eggs. If you didn't, it'll be fine, I'm sure. But better to have them beaten, right, Deb?
I think so, but if you already plopped them in, just tilt your bowl and, take
Yeah.
a fork and scramble them a little bit.
Oh, that's smart. That works. So this, I really enjoy this Sunny Lemon pound cake. And one of the things when I make it as a cake, I sometimes will put a 1/2 cup of white chocolate chips in my mix. So it's just a little bit different. And then the other way too is if you like a very lemony flavor, when you use your glaze, you could always do a little bit of like if you're doing, even if you're doing it for the cookies, if you like them to be extra lemony, you could even use a little bit of lemon zest and a little bit of lemon juice in your to replace the water that it calls for. So or use less of it. So really, this is pretty easy. These are the only ingredients that you need for this part of the cookie. Once you mix those 3 ingredients together, you'll just form that into the dough ball and then put that in your big Ziploc bag. Now, as you prepare this, as you actually bake it, that's where there's going to be the extra steps of like putting your thumbprint in, putting the preserves on, and then baking it for an additional 6 to 8 minutes after the initial 10 minutes. And then after they cool, that's when you put the glaze over top.
And I'd like to add that when you're
Yeah.
putting the preserves in, like after you bake them and you make the print, that you don't overdo it because it will just ooze everywhere and you know what I mean? So it's just a
not
little
pretty.
dollop. Yeah, just a
Mhm.
little dollop.
Because as that jam warms up, it's going to spread, right?
Correct.
So that's why it's better to not go overboard. And I think I think that many of us do that because we're like, oh, more is better. But we forget that as it warms is going to kind of thin down and spread out.
Right.
So yeah, thank you for that tip. That was very smart. So. Oh, already? That was quick. Wow.
That's because Lexi's on the job.
Yep, Lexi's on the job, getting it done. Well, that is awesome. And then, okie dokie. So we're going to go on to the next cookie if you're ready. We only have 2 left. So we are going to go ahead and this time we're going to be making our cherry and pistachio cookies. So this one, we are going to use our absolutely almond pound cake. And
Gonna watch you on this one. We're not doing the cherry, whatever. We're gonna turn it into something else later.
that sounds great. There are a bunch of actually other recipes on the website. Other cookie recipes. There's even one where you can roll them out and make cutout cookies for this. So so there is that option. So why don't we do this? Anybody who's going to catch this on the recording, we're going to go out of order. We're going to pause on that cookie for a minute. And that way Haley's family, we can make the snickerdoodles together, and that way you can start to do, if you want to do the dough balls, or if you want to just freeze the bowl. So freeze them as one big bowl, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump over to our snickerdoodle cookies. And in this situation, or in this mix, you're gonna take the cinnamon sugar crumb cake mix,
Is it?
Yep, let me get it.
Oh,
and you're gonna combine
I want to do it.
just packet one. So we're only gonna be using packet one.
They're icing, right?
Yeah, that's your icing. There's gonna be another one of those packets coming out of this next box. So you wanna, that one, the one that you're holding in your hand, put with your lemon cookies, maybe tape it to the outside of the bag so you don't misplace that.
I like the eye one.
Just a minute, Luz, just a minute.
All right, so in that box, Lexi, you've got 2 packets in there. The big packet is gonna go in the bowl. And that little one, we're gonna measure a little bit of it out of there, but we're not using that whole packet. Because some of it you're gonna use when you go to bake the cookies. So you're putting packet 1 into your bowl. And on this one, you're just gonna be using 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. So this one gets melted butter. And it's just 1/3 of a cup this time. I just am verifying that. Yep, 1/3 cup. Okay. Because that's different than everybody else's, or the other one, so. And this one goes together very quickly. There's so much cinnamon and sugar mixture in that packet too, that you'll be surprised. I actually, when I went to roll those before baking, I just only put a portion of it in the small bowl, and I still had plenty left over. And I have, so the stuff that I didn't have in the bowl, now I have to make cinnamon toast. So that was really nice. Ooh, be careful. All right.
Tina, I sent you the cutout cookie recipe.
Oh, thank you. The other one that's really good is there's one that you just dip chocolate. You make the almond pound cake cookie, and then you just dip chocolate after it's cooled. And that's
Oh,
really good
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'll send that one too.
So this is, like I said, one of the ones that actually calls for melted butter. Actually, I think it's the only one that had melted butter in it. So, again, just be aware of that. And you also will need 2 eggs beaten. I know when you pour that mix out like that, it goes all in the air, doesn't it? Yeah. Smells good. So this one, that second packet, you will need a measuring spoon because you're going to measure 2 tablespoons from the packet too. But then you're going to save the rest of it for later, so. So Lexi, where were you tonight? Were you at school stuff? No. What did you say, Lucy?
There.
Recording again. So when you're ready, you've already got in your snickerdoodles, you've got your packet number 1 in the bowl, 1/3 of a cup of melted butter, 2 beaten eggs, and then you're going to do 2 tablespoons of packet 2. This is your cinnamon sugar mixture. So you'll do 2 tablespoons. What I did with this was I rolled it back over and then I taped it closed, because you'll use the remainder of that that cinnamon sugar mixture to roll the cookies in right before you bake them. And like I said, it's a pretty big packet of that mixture, so you probably could start with a small amount in the bowl and roll your dough, and you probably would have plenty left for like cinnamon toast, or if you were doing these cookies again. So
Just a minute.
Yeah, thank you.
Grandma will get,
And I made these last week for an event that I had here at my house, and people were raving about them. So, you know, it's not just
Oh,
me saying they
good.
were good. They were very pleased with them as well. So now one thing I might do with this mix, not the cookies themselves, but with the cinnamon sugar crumb cake mix for Christmas, I'm thinking about making it, but then I'm gonna create like a glaze, you know, make my own glaze to pour over top of it while it's still warm, because I just like a coffee cake with glaze on it. I like the super, super sweet things. So that's how I think I'm gonna do mine this year. So Deborah, did you find any of those recipes? Or are you looking at the cakes to cookies?
I'm looking at the cakes to cookies. It didn't even come up on like the TS website
Yeah,
when I put it in, and I was just getting into my back office to see if I could add it to an order and see,
I probably am wrong then. I probably just misread um what it said. Lucy, you're doing great there. Keep up the good work. I see that tongue. So if you all right, so ladies, thanks for being here with me. We're going to be doing our last two cookies. And I know we jumped around a little bit on the cookie prep sheet, but I think you'll be able to follow along. So in our next cookie, which is going to be our cherry and pistachio cookie, we're going to be using our almond pound cake mix. So you want to grab that. And you also will want, once you have that in your bowl, you're going to be adding half cup of dried cherries or dried cranberries. And it calls for the dried cherries and or cranberries to be chopped. Now, I will tell you, I have a hard time doing that. So, Deborah or Carla, if either of you have some techniques for me on that, my chopper just wants to cling, like suck them all up and then they don't break up.
Mhm.
So I used cherries the first time with this, but they were really big. Dried cherries were much bigger than the dried cranberries. So I would, in my case, next time I make it, I'm gonna do dried cranberries. But any thoughts on that or any tips, pro tips that y'all want to share?
I never did it before, so
Okay.
not much help there.
I think cranberries are small enough that you don't have to chop them, the dried ones.
Yes. Yeah. So okay, so in your mix, you've got your almond pound cake, you're doing half of a cup of the dried cherries or cranberries. And then you're also going to be adding a half cup of chopped shelled pistachios. So if you need to take time to do that, it's going to be a half a cup of pistachios. And then you can always pause this. If I'm talking too fast for you, you can pause this as you chop any of the pistachios or cherries that you might need to do. For those of you that are catching this on the recording. After you've added those three ingredients, you're also going to be adding one stick or a half a cup of softened butter. And again, this is a softened stick, not a melted one. And then your last two things that you'll be adding is you're going to add 2 large eggs to this mix. And as you mix all this together, to be honest, a lot of times use my hands at this point. Once I get the initial mixing done, I use my hands to kind of, it says knead. I forgot to take the word knead out of there. Or does it say knead on yours? I updated it, I know. Nope,
It
okay.
doesn't say need.
Don't need because yeah, kneading is something different. Deborah told me about. So so with this one, you want to go ahead and I just use my hands just to kind of mix it in. Just because I feel like it gets the cranberries and the pistachios seem to get mixed better. I don't know. I was having trouble mixing it with a spoon the other day. Um, so on this one, what you'll do is once the dough is formed, you're going to actually divide the dough in half. And then you're going to place it on a sheet of parchment paper, plastic wrap, or even wax paper. And you're going to just make 2, so one for each of the half, like each half of the log, you're going to make it into like a cookie log or a cookie tube. Because what you're going to do is you're going to freeze that. And then when it's time to make those cookies, as you bring it out to thaw, you'll just slice, you won't even, you'll slice those off and make like, I think of like those Nestle Toll House cookies that are, or what are the ones that were the Pillsbury that already had like the sugar cutout cookie, like they had designs or on Christmas, trees and things like that. So it'll just be a log that you can just go down and cut it and make your cookies that way. So again, so you're mixing almond pound cake, the cherries, pistachios, your stick of softened butter, your 2 large eggs. Once that's all mixed together, and you have a nice dough consistency, you'll take and split that in half, and then on a piece of parchment or wax paper, roll that to make a log, wrap that up really well, and then throw that into your gallon size freezer bag. And remember, you're always going to want to label your bags. So that way, when you're looking at your cookies, you'll know exactly which ones you have there. This one would be pretty easy to recognize since it's in a log form as opposed to the dough balls. But again, doesn't hurt to do that and label your bag with the cookie name and also when you made the cookies, just in case it gets separated and mixed or put in the bottom of a freezer and you find it a long time from now. So maybe I'm the only one that has that happen, but I did have that happen once. I was like, oh no, I missed a whole batch of cookies. So yeah. All right. So if you are still mixing that, you can put this on pause. Otherwise, we'll be moving on to our next cookie. And our last cookie of the evening, if you were not a person who got the cakes to cookies assortment, we because we realized that the classic chocolate pound cake was on back order, so we quickly did a pivot and we added one more cookie that requires a Nana's apple cake. So this one is called the Nana's Cinnamon Oatmeal Scotchies. And you're going to need a Nana's apple cake for this. You'll pour that into your large mixing bowl. And then you'll also be adding 1 cup of softened butter. So 1 stick of the softened butter. And 1 large egg. Now, Deborah, I'm going to ask you again. I don't mean to keep coming to you, Deborah, but if you don't know, Deborah has pretty much experience because she taught home ec for how many years, Deborah? 20 years. So I go to her, I consider her the guru. So Deborah, on this cookie, it only calls for 1 egg, but I'm thinking we might need 2 because all the rest of them called for 2 eggs.
It wouldn't hurt to add an extra one.
Yeah. So, and we had a reformulation of our cake mixes a couple years back, and this might be a recipe from the past that didn't get an update. So,
Oh, okay.
so we're going to suggest that you go ahead and put a 2nd egg in this, just so that the cookies turn out. If it's not going to hurt to have the extra egg in there, let's put that extra egg in. So instead of just 1 egg, we're going to have you go ahead and do 2 eggs in this mix. So, then once you have that all blended together, we're going to be adding in 1 3/4 cup of the quick cook oats. And then 1 cup of your butterscotch morsels. And we said, Deborah, you could even go to maybe 1.5 cups. Is that right? Or do we say half
Yeah,
cup to 1 cup? Half a cup
it
to
just
1
de-
cup, right?
Yeah, well, I think we decided on 1 cup because I just think it's going to be hard to get it all mixed in.
Yes, because you got the oatmeal and you have the butterscotch morsels. So I couldn't remember if you said a half a cup or a whole cup. So we'll say a cup of morsels. All right, I'm looking to her. So you see me looking over off to the side, like, Deborah, is that what we said? So I'm just verifying. So, all right. So once you mix all that together, then you have that mixture. This is one of my favorite. Like I really enjoy oatmeal scotchy cookies. So with it made with a Nana's apple cake, it's just so yummy because that cinnamon, just all of the flavor of Nana's apple cake mixed in with the oatmeal and the butterscotch morsels makes a delicious cookie. So, definitely give this one a try. If you're not making it because you already had the classic chocolate pound cake and you didn't get an extra Nana's apple, feel free to reach out to your consultant and suggest that you need to buy one more thing. They might even have one on hand for you so that you can make an extra cookie for the holidays. And this is going to need, like I said, the Nana's apple cake. So, again, once you have that made up, you just can put that all in that one big dough ball in your freezer bag, or you can go ahead and form the individual dough balls so that your cookies are all ready to go in the oven. Go ahead. What did you want to mention, Deborah?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, can we talk about when you're portioning out your dough balls, if you're trying to get 24, you kind of cut your dough in half, cut it in half again, and assign a number like, okay, out of this chunk, I need to get 6 cookies, so
Oh.
that you're making all the same size cookies as opposed to like, this one's this big and I'm down to the end and it's really tiny, so you just kind of, yeah.
Okay, so that's a very valuable lesson I've never done before, and my cookies are never the right, they're all different sizes. So I love that you just shared that because I never even would have thought to do that. That is awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
So, and if you loved this, making the cookie dough for this workshop, we do have, as I mentioned, we do have a monthly meal prep workshop where we prep 5 meals in an hour here on Zoom. And what we do is we order the meal kits or the ingredients that we'll need for the workshop about 2 weeks ahead. And then the grocery list goes out the week before, along with our prep instructions that we'll be following. And then on the night of, usually it's a Sunday between 7 to 8 p.m., we'll make those 5 meals up, and then you can throw them in your freezer and have peace of mind knowing that your meals are prepared and ready to go. And we'll have another meal prep workshop coming to you at the beginning of January. So stay tuned for more information. And again, have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas and enjoy your cookies.